Um, Hello, my name is Abby Mars. I'm an educational support coach here at Family Matters Parent Training and Information Center. Family Matters is one of the two parent trainings and information centers that serves the state of Illinois. We serve all counties outside of the Chicagoland area. Our partner organization, FRCD, serves counties within the Chicagoland area. For more information about our geographical locations and service areas, you can visit our website or FRCD's website. But today we're here to talk about how to navigate puberty and developmental disabilities. So please remember that Family Matters is not a legal service. We do not provide legal advice or representation, and no information we share with you should be misconstrued as legal advice or representation. We are funded under the U.S. Department of Education, but that does not mean our views or opinions on things are necessarily the views or opinions of the U.S. Department of Education. So due to high attendance to this webinar, we are leaving all our participants on mute. We will have time at the end for questions. So should you have questions throughout the presentation, please relate those and put them in the chat or Q&A box, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. Carrie, the other educational support coach in our office, will be monitoring the chat, answering a few questions that way, and sharing some more information. So let's get started. So I am the parent of 4 children, one of which has a complex developmental disability, autism, and epilepsy. So puberty is something that he's 21, so puberty is something that started and came, and I think we're right at the tail end of. So this is an area I have navigated myself, and we put together this presentation to share more resources with families and self-advocates. So if you're watching in the chat, I asked earlier to you please, put your name and a title. If your student is watching with you, please absolutely include that information as well. So, and don't forget that at the end of this presentation, there will be a survey to take to tell us how good we did. All right. So this webinar will be posted on our website when we're finished. But here are our goals for today. We're going to identify 2 key strategies to educate an individual with an intellectual disability about the changes that come with puberty. We're going to explore some resources that may be useful in learning more about puberty and sexuality. And we're going to describe 2 examples of effective language that will promote understanding and puberty. So when will puberty begin? And I know everybody's busy right now signing into the chat, so I'm not going to do my usual poll, but I think we all understand that puberty, starts around age 9 to 14. There's been some evidence out there. There's been some proof historically that puberty is starting earlier than what it used to, and we can all argue for the different reasons as to why that is. But between the ages of 9 and 14, your child will start to go into puberty. Now, this could vary for health conditions. This could vary just because we as 2 individuals are different. But between the ages of 9 to 14 is when we start to see the signs of puberty. So let's talk about some physical signs for puberty. So for females, those of us that are born biologically female, we're going to start to see changes in the face. The face will start to get less like round and baby-like and more elongated. The cheekbones become more defined. There's changes in breast material. Menstruation begins. There's changes in different other shapes in your body, like your hips, your knees, your feet. Everything starts to change. But for individuals born biologically a male, the voice will usually be our first sign that puberty is approaching. They may begin to get hair on their face, their chest, underneath their arms, everywhere. My son has hair everywhere, but there's also going to be a change in the size and shape of their penis and testicles. So, but for both of those individuals, their feelings and emotions change very rapidly at the start of puberty. Their skin changes. They begin to have body odor. Oh my gosh, guys, 4 teenagers in my house. There's body odor. It's awful. There's hair growth, of course. They have growth spurts all the time, and you start to get stretch marks. So these are some physical signs that your child may be starting puberty. So for our individuals with disabilities, with developmental disabilities, when puberty begins sometimes, they have trouble expressing, and really any child, any adolescent has trouble expressing what the changes are like that are happening within their body. It's we have a stigma in our society to be embarrassed of those changes in our body, and there may not be a lot of communication. Children may start to wear more baggier clothes, maybe more privates, and not want to leave their bedroom as often, or not want you to help them with bathing. This isn't any different for our children with developmental disabilities. Even though my son is non-speaking, he still very much expressed his need for privacy when taking a shower and things. Even though I had helped him to do those things well up until he was 11 or 12 years old because he needed the assistance. So we're going to talk about that more here in just a few minutes. So first of all, let's understand the 5 stages of puberty. So the first stage is when hormones are hard at work behind the scenes. And then that's the second stage is when the physical signs of puberty start to show. So we may see signs of the emotional part, the hormonal part, before the body physically starts to change. And for our individuals that have a developmental disability, it's hard to see, like, we don't know what's going on. Sometimes we might see a spike in problematic behaviors or aggression before those physical signs of puberty occur. So as a parent, it's really hard. You're advocating, you're trying to be a voice for your child, and you know something's happening, but you've not seen the physical signs of puberty yet. So that's really hard. So these are questions when you go to talk to your doctor and you talk about some aggression issues that are happening, or some depression or sleepiness. Say, I see this happening, but I've not seen physical signs of puberty yet. It doesn't necessarily mean that puberty is not on its way just because you haven't seen those physical signs. Now, stage 3 is that growth spurt. These growth spurts are different than what they have like in first and second grade when you buy shoes on a Monday and Friday, they're not fitting correctly. These growth spurts are super rapid. They usually involve a lot of eating that's going on. But yes, and then the stage 4 is the continuation of development, and then there's final stage. So these are kind of ways to help understand those signs of puberty. So there's a short video here we can watch. For time's sake, we're going to skip this. This resource will be available to you after, of course, and you can have a link. But it's a really great YouTube channel that I will share more with you about at the end. But they're very nice little short clips to help with the animated to help your children understand the signs of puberty in their body. So for males, the physical signs, like we talked about, were the growth spurts, acne. I don't think I mentioned that one. Hair growth on the underarms, the genitals, the face, and the chest. The voice can change. So for our individuals that are non-speaking, this was interesting for my son. So he does a lot of vocal stemming. And the vocal stemming he does is always loud, but one day it was a little deeper, and we're like, oh my, okay, maybe this is what a voice change is going to sound like for him. The increase in body odor, the penis growth and length, and how wide, and nighttime ejaculation can also happen. And then the testicles and scrotum also increase in size and become darker in color. So these are, I hate using the word normal because I'm a big believer that normal is a drier setting and not necessarily a word to describe an individual, but these are normal signs of puberty, that puberty may be approaching. So we also have the mood swings. Okay, and don't forget that males, biologically born males, can have breast growth as well during puberty. So that's something that may start to present. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns about how your child's body is changing, ask your healthcare professional. Okay. So in girls, there's menstruation that happens with biological females at different rates. Okay, so some girls start earlier than others. There's an increase in vaginal discharge as well, breast development and darkening of the areolas. There's hair growth on the genitals, the legs, really body hair everywhere for girls. It's quite normal. Again, I hate that word, to even get growth on the face, like hair growth on the face. Growth spurts are big in girls as well. Increased body odor, acne and skin changes, and increased fat accumulation in the waist and the hips. So this is just our, this is what our bodies did to prepare to have children back in the day, and we grew and developed fat in different areas to support that. So just like boys, there's the visual reflection of signs of puberty in girls, which is the hair growth, the breast development, pimples or acne, mood springs, a height spurt, and period or menstruation. And again, a really great video. Typical. I like typical instead of normal. I like that a lot. Thank you, Ellen. So I cannot stress this enough, but language matters. Okay, our students with developmental disabilities, the children that we are caring for and advocating, they need direct, clear communication. I'm a big believer that we call our genitals by their names, the penis and vagina, not anything, a nickname, not something that sounds cute. For our individuals with disabilities, this is no different. We need to be direct with them. We need to be cleared with them and avoid those euphemisms because it is typical. Puberty and sexuality are typical. I'm going to change that in the slide, Ellen. Thank you. So we have to be clear and direct. We should be clear and direct with every child about this matter, but especially with our children with developmental disabilities. They need to understand their body. They need to understand what's happening to them to the best of their ability, and we need to use the actual names for our body parts. Now, think beyond the physical and prepare for the emotional changes that can be disrupted as the body changes for the child as well. The mood swings and the fatigue, the anxiety, the increase in self-conscious and the body image. These are all things that are going to be happening with our students and changing. So we have to make sure that we're aware of these things. And I really know from my own student that it was a struggle to understand, like we just all of a sudden started to see a spike in aggressive behavior and a spike in self-injurious behavior for my non-speaking son, and it was really hard, and we're like, what is going on? We've not changed medicines. He's grew a little bit, he's gained a little bit of weight. Could that be it? And sometimes waiting to get into the doctor takes a long time. Okay, those specialists, they take a long time to get into. So keep these in the back of your mind. Could this be caused by puberty? What are some things we can do to work with him on to help him feel more comfortable within his body? And of course, normalize all body shapes and sizes. Use atomically correct language from the start. Speak positively about your body. And I mean, speak positively about your body, mom and dad. Okay. So it's okay that mom's legs look this way. It's okay that mom's face looks this way because our children are going to see ourselves talking to ourselves. Okay. And they're gonna find their own self-worth with how we look at ourselves and give ourselves self-worth. So I like the saying that you should never say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to someone else. So keep that in the back of your mind that how we perceive and look at our bodies, it gives our children cues to how they look and perceive their bodies. I was I'm a closeted Barbie collector. I don't share this a lot, but I'm a closeted Barbie collector. I've collected Barbies for a long time. And I loved, loved, loved when the life version of Barbie came out to promote body image, that we all look different in different ways. So keep that in the back of your mind. It's okay that you don't look like your friend. It's okay that your hair doesn't grow long this way. It's okay that you haven't started your period yet. It's your body preparing itself. Make sure that you're building your support scene. Identify who you and your child consider to be safe. Give permission for your child to ask questions of anyone on their safe team. Enjoy your team members as they are all sharing a similar message. Ensure your team members are all sharing the similar message. So could anybody in the chat, just, you don't have to say like my friend Fred, but like, can we give examples of who would be on your child's safe team? I don't have time to fix that right now. It was working just a minute ago. Yeah. A teacher. Good job, Mary. An aunt, a healthcare team. That's great. Anyone that is responsible for their care, grandma and grandpa. These are all great examples. Hi, Nina. These are all great examples. So let's remember though, okay, this is very, very important to remember about our SAFE team. if you have certain views on certain subjects that you want to carry over to your child, make sure that those people on your SAFE team also have those views. So, for example, if you want to express to your child, it is absolutely okay to tell a person that they don't want to hug them or they don't want to give them a kiss. Make sure that the people on your SAFE team are also under that understanding. Okay. Or if it's okay for your daughter to ask her grandpa to go buy maxi pads from the grocery store. Like we have to make sure that everyone on our SAFE team has the same views on things. Okay, so because that has to be a safe space for your child to talk to about their body, about their sexuality. So these are some great resource books that, and some of these we have available in our lending library. The care and keeping of you. So my daughter also has a disability, and we utilized the American Girl series on puberty. So we have those for not rent, what am I like in our lending library that you can borrow. So you can absolutely send an email to our website if you're interested in those. We have a few other of these as well. So these are great books to go over with your student about how their body is changing and how they should feel within their body and ways to take care of their body. Remember that all questions are safe questions. Nothing is off limit topics because if they can't ask you, they're going to ask somebody else. And is that someone else someone trusted that you can trust with to answer the question in the way that you feel is safe to be answered? So we have to remember that if your child feels safe with talking with you about their body, should the unthinkable happen and someone exploit them or touch them inappropriately, they'll also be safe bringing that to you. It's when you put the those barriers in place where they feel like things are off limits and unsafe to talk about when they don't share those things. So let's talk about hygiene super early, addressed to early on and often. So Carrie and I have helped families before make hygiene checklists. What do I need to do when I go into the shower? I know lots of different organizations, different autism organizations help make those visual schedules and checklists. Your school can help you make those visuals and checklists, but allow a child to select their own products if possible. So we were struggling with my son. He didn't like to use deodorant. He avoided it at all costs. And we found out because he didn't like the smell of it, it was too overpowering for him. So we found an unscented option. So would I have let him, if I would have let him pick out his own stuff from early on, I would have known then that, as he was smelling them in the store, which one he would have liked. But build it into your daily routine. And what we do in our house is you guys are going to fall over, but we are a family of 6 and we have one bathroom. Okay. We have live in an old farmhouse. That's how it goes. And so each of us has bathroom time in the morning. There's a visual schedule up for everybody's bathroom, like what they need to do in the morning. And when my kids were younger, when they were learning these routines, I would say, hey, mom's going to go put on her deodorant. So that would give them the prompt to, oh, yeah, have I done my morning routine? But make sure the tools that are needed are accessible in the environment. And like I said, everybody using those tools together as your student you learns that skill is really great. Like I'm not gonna lie, my husband wasn't super excited first when he's like, why is there a shaving visual up? Do you think I'm not doing it correctly? And I said, no, that's for, David, he'll be shaving soon. And so make sure that their tools are accessible and that your students can see those. And again, that's something that Carrie and I can help you create. We actually have a few that we could just send you a link to. So if you're interested in those, please reach out to our office. Like I said, other organizations also offer visuals and visual schedules as well. So privacy boundaries. Who can I talk to about this? Where can I talk about this? If I have a hygiene emergency, who can I ask for help? So when my daughter began puberty, we put kind of like a bag together for her that she could take with her to school and things, and it had things that she needed in it. But we also included a little list in there. If I need help with my menstruation needs, who can I find at the school that can help me? Where are their extra pads located at? Like, and she even had a little schedule she kept in the bag that showed her what to do in if she needed to change her pad or she needed to get a pad from somewhere. So make sure that these, in an emergency situation, that you can see this. And it's also important that our students know who can see or touch my body. Who do I feel comfortable with that? What do I do if someone makes me feel uncomfortable about my body? Consider looping in your child's healthcare provider to reinforce this message about privacy and safety. So we did that. We had a discussion with my daughter and our sons about, this is your body, this is your private parts. You can touch these parts, and we included the healthcare provider because it was, she had questions. She's like, well, what if the doctor needs to look at me? So we included the healthcare provider to say a doctor might need to look at you, but they would always do that with a nurse in the room. So bringing professionals into that sometimes can help answer those questions that we get put on the spot as a parent for. And guys, I have the realization some of these things can be uncomfortable to talk about. Like it's not easy for me to say vagina and penis during this presentation, but we have to get comfortable with it because our children with disabilities are looking to us for those cues and that support. Consider a hygiene box. I know that a lot of kids will keep a hygiene box in their locker, whether they have a disability or not. But our children that have disabilities lack those soft skills to realize, oh, I kind of smell funny. I need to put on deodorant, right? So if we keep an emergency hygiene box in our backpack or in our locker, there can be these things. There can be these things in it. And I like to put together hygiene boxes and donate them to high schools in the fall. So this is something that I help to do. So even students without disabilities could have access to this if they need this. So things that you could put in your hygiene box: deodorant, oral cleaning supplies, wipes, pads or tampons, face wipes, body spray. Man wipes were huge last year. I actually bought a box of them, like a box of them off of Amazon last year, and I sent them to the high school along with hygiene boxes, and my local high school kept those in the locker room for any student that may need them, and they went over really well, I think. So consider any equipment or adaptations that might make things easier. So when Carrie and I toured the Illinois Assistive Technology Program earlier this year, I was mesmerized by their bathroom area and the different equipment they had to make things easier for students or for anybody with a disability. So a bath or shower seat, a bidet, a shower scrubber with a long handle, body wipes, adaptable toothbrushes, period underwear. I think those are the most amazing gift ever from from the feminine hygiene companies. They also, I was in Dollar General the other day, and they have disposable feminine underwear. So for us parents that have had to, use the supportive depends and things before for our students that are menstruating, these are these don't look like a depend or a pull up. And so yeah, they're great to use. And like Megan says here, pull ups for a heavy menstrual flow. So these are things that are so much more accessible now than what they used to be. So there's also lots of apps that we can use to help our teens understand what's happening in their bodies. So the Talk Puberty app, Clue Period Tracker. My daughter uses the Eve Period Tracker. These are all great apps, okay? And it helps them understand what's going on with their body, track their menstruation cycle, all of the things. Make sure we're thinking about sensory challenges, okay? Is a pad uncomfortable for my daughter to wear with her sensory needs, or a tampon? Does the smell of a body product bother my son's sensory needs? There may be discomfort associated with shaving, or in my son's case, when the hair growth started to come on his arms and his legs, he started to skin pick because it was itchy. So keep these things in mind, okay? That your child has sensory needs, and just because their body's growing it or their body's producing it doesn't mean they're more tolerant of it. What are some things we can do? I do know that there is a new company making organic feminine products. I'm told that they are more comfortable, like they don't cause as much irritation. So you could absolutely look into that. I know a lot of families use menstruation cups because they're more comfortable to use. So just keep that in mind. And of course, appropriate health care. Make sure you're connecting with an OB or GYN who communicates directly with your teen and respects the sensory boundaries that your team has. Teens with disabilities need the same quality of health care, testing, and screening as everyone else. So make sure that we are talking about those options and that you're not just taking your daughter to your OBGYN because that's who you know is available. Do some research. Who works well? These are great questions to ask any specialists that are seeing your daughter or your son. Like who's a good OBGYN for my daughter who has a developmental disability? You could ask that at their psychiatry office or their heart specialist at a children's hospital, but find out who works great with them. Unfortunately, I don't like have a database to look that information up in, but it's something you could ask of their current healthcare professionals. So here's some great resources. The QR cards were working when I tried them this morning. So, okay, this is the YouTube channel I was talking about. So I'm just going to click on it, make sure that my screen switches over like it's supposed to because it never does. Sorry, guys. So this is a YouTube channel that I subscribe to. All my children subscribe to it as well. So this is amaze.org, and then of course their YouTube channel. There are lots of small little shorts on here that are all animated, and they broach some situations that are uncomfortable to talk about with our teens. So the two videos that I included in this presentation offered, signs of puberty and boys and girls. There's also things like what to do if I'm sexually assaulted. What is vaginal discharge? Why does it happen? These are great videos. They just, most of our kids like to navigate YouTube, right? This is a safe space for them to look that information up in instead of just putting it in the search history and God knows what they'll find then. So this is a great resource. I really like this channel a lot. Look through it and see if you feel that it's appropriate material to share with your teen or with your adolescent. So I think it's a great resource to share. So here's some more resources, tips for talking about sexuality for parents. These are great resources. And there's the amaze.org. That's their website compared to their YouTube channel. PTAC has a great toolkit. There's some online courses if you're interested in taking part in a 4-modular course on sexuality and understanding puberty. And this is my contact information here at Family Matters. You are absolutely welcome to at any time send me an email, ask me questions I might be able to help you with. I obviously don't give any type of medical advice or legal representation, but it can help to point you into the direction of resources that you may need. Also, don't forget that puberty is happening to every student in your high school or junior high as well. Think about writing those daily living or living skills into your daughter or your son's transition plan and helping them to, be more self-sufficient and understand their body as well. So we have lots of resources on that as well. At this time, Carrie's going to stop the recording and we'll be able to open up for questions.